Are you fishing for solutions to problems that are reoccurring in your business and you're not taking the bite out of the loss of profits that you're looking for? It may not be the bait you're using. It may not even be the tools that you're using. It may be how you're using them. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a fishbone diagram, which sometimes called an Ishikawa diagram, sometimes it's called a cause and effect diagram. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it's how you use it effectively that'll help you land the big one. Let me set up my training supplies and I'll get right to it. A fishbone diagram is simply a tool that helps you organize your thoughts around a particular problem. When we think of Lean Six Sigma, we think of Y as a function of X, Y being the output, X being the inputs. And I've used that term before when it comes to critical equality and some other tools as well. So let's understand, when we look at the fishbone diagram, we're looking at the problem, the Y, the output, and then we're looking at the inputs, the X's. And a fishbone diagram helps you organize those into themes. I'm going to get into those in just 1 second. The fishbone diagram is an essential tool when it comes to any problem solver's toolbox. In Lean Six Sigma, I haven't done a single project where I haven't at least engaged a cause and effect diagram, fishbone diagram, at least once. And sometimes I'll use it in conjunction with a 5Y exercise, which is a future video you're going to want to watch as well. And so we're going to organize our thoughts. It was created by a man named Ishikawa, and he was the one that invented it in order to be able to help him solve problems in an organized fashion. So let's have a look at how this is going to work. So we start with the head of the fishbone, which is the Y. So Y is a function of X, right? And so here we've got the fishbone head, and it's our Y, and we want to define very specifically what that is. Now, let's say, for example, we've got late deliveries, and we're trying to understand and get to the root cause of our late deliveries. So our Y is late deliveries. And we're going to say that those late deliveries are occurring more frequently than we want them to occur. So let's say they're occurring like 25% of the time, our things are arriving late. Now, when we think about a fishbone diagram, we think of 6 M's, and those would be the bones of the fishbone diagram. So if we think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 6 M's is what I like to use, is how I like to theme those. And so I usually start with machine, and then I think of materials, and then I think of methods, think of manpower or muscle, and I think of Mother Nature, and then my last one that I think of is maintenance. And usually that's related to machines and or information and or other things associated with that. So then what I do is I go into my toolbox and I take out my Post-it notes, and I always have some in my toolbox. And what I would start to do is I would start to write down and brainstorm all of the themes, all of the ideas as to why there would be late delivery. You can get into what those are, and you start listing them. It could be the routes that people take. It could be the fact that the things aren't available when you need them to be able to deliver them. It could be numerous things, right? When we think about those. And that's what we want to be able to capture. And when we capture those, we want to be able to put them in themes. And so when I come up with an idea, and then let's say, for example, we'll talk about the routes are not optimized. So we're going to say route choice. So when I think of route choice, I would think of that as a method, right? So how am I choosing the routes? What routes am I choosing in order to be able to make my deliveries? Because that could be important. And then I might say, well, what's the optimum? That's a cause of the effect. What's a sub-cause of that effect? And it could be the poor routes are being chosen because of something related to the fact that there's a lot of street closures that we're unaware of. So closures of streets, unaware of those. Okay, so that would be something that we would want to be able to think about. So is how do we find out every day which streets are being closed off, or which are due to construction or due to detours and so on? That could influence whether or not we're having late deliveries. That's just simply one example. And so we would want to explore all of the examples associated with all 6 M's. Once we've done that, we can start to use this tool in conjunction with a 5Y. And I'll get to that in a future episode. You're definitely going to want to watch that episode. It's where we drill down and get to the true root causes. This really helps us identify things. It also helps us understand whether we need data or not, and where we need data points. Because if you're starting to identify those bones on that fish, and you're starting to realize that, wait a minute, we've got potential causes of our problems, which we don't know the answers to as to how big that impact is, you're going to want to measure that, which is why I use it in the measure and analyze phase of a project. I haven't done a project where I haven't used a fishbone diagram in some form or capacity, and it's usually around the measure analyze phase, specifically the analyze phase when I get to the root cause. Anyway, if you've liked this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Always anxious to hear what you have to say and how you've used this tool, or have you not used it before and thinking about using it for the first time. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and make sure you subscribe.